My favorites are just comics that like describe a funny thing that happened to someone in their day. So whatever you want the content to be, it can be. One thing that journal comics are great for is self-reflection, looking at things and think about things, and like learning about different parts of yourself that you can't access as easily, which is one of those things that like comes with a little more experience making comics, I think, is like being open to exploring that stuff in like a visual and words kind of way. Like one of my artists that I really like, Mari Naomi, is she's not necessarily directly a journal comic artist, but she does do like a lot of like very introspective work that I think is really important. And you can like talk to yourself about all kinds of things. Like I've seen a lot of comics that like talk about the artist's mental health and like exploring things like that. Like they kind of work as like a second form of therapy. You can also use comics to think about like external things. One of my favorite journal comics is called Barong, and it's by Gail Galligan, who's like a graphic novelist. And they went to Thailand, which is where their mom is from. And it's just like a really cool meditation on like, what does it mean to me to have this experience being like a Thai person, but not from Thailand. Just really cool. Also, it's just a really beautiful comic, so I highly recommend it if you're interested. You can just find that online. Yeah, it's really good. The art's like so beautiful to read. Okay. Oh wait. Yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about with using journal comics to like look at things and how you feel about things. A good example, Bianca Zunis is a really cool artist who like also does a lot of like essay comics, but she does like, I really like this one because it's a good example of like taking this thing that's outside yourself, like a movie, and like really getting kind of introspective with it. Like, this is how I feel about it. This is like what I want to engage with it with. So this is a way to do like media engagement. Journal comics do not they do not have to be posted regularly, but a lot of them are. One of the more famous ones is American Elf by James Pachalka. He started doing journal comics on a plane trip to San Diego Comic-Con with a friend and saw them drawing. I was like, I'll just do a daily journal comic, and then just didn't stop for 14 years. So like a lot of content, really cool. But yeah, it's really interesting too to see like how when you do a comic for a really long time, whether you need to or not, your art's going to change. And that's either because you're figuring out what you like, what you don't like, how to speed up drawing, how to, do all that, get better at your craft. And it's really fun to look back and see like how your art has changed and like what is different about it. Like, so Jessica did some journal comics, not like every day for like a long time, but like one in 2005 looks so different from one in 2018. And it's really cool because you get to see like not just the way your art changes, but like the way you think about things changes, like the process you use to draw, all that stuff. It's really cool. I like it. I like seeing simplified shapes and goofy faces, so that's like what I'm drawn to. Hourly Comic Day, it's really fun. A lot of people who are already on social media probably know about this, but it's an event that happens every year on February 1st. And it's a challenge to draw a mini comic for every hour of the day that you're awake, which is a lot of work. So not a lot of people make like super high polished comics, but like the thing that I really like about it is that you can use it as a challenge to teach yourself to draw faster and like choose simpler shapes to express things. But they're really like, even these arts, it's very like round and simplified. It's really cute, but like gets what across they're trying to say. You could also just go whole, go all in with it, and like a lot of people get really stressed out trying to do that, so if that stresses you out, just don't do that. Just draw them as simple as you can. If you have a really intense job or like a desk job or something that you can't get away from once an hour all day, just do a little scribble, post it online with the hashtag, and it's just really fun. You can do that any time of the year, obviously, but there's the event for it. Another thing really important, I think, in like journal comics specifically, is since you are trying to do something for yourself with the way you're making it, instead of just pushing like product for other people, like, make it how good you want to. If it looks ugly, but it serves its purpose, that's awesome. That's a comic. It's done. Like, don't worry too much about it. And that's where my art comes in. So I started a semi-autobiographical journal comic in college. And I call it that because I changed a lot of details about it so that I don't like call out anybody in my real life. But like, you know, that's also another thing to think about is if you don't feel comfortable sharing something, you don't have to. It's really easy to fall into this trap on social media of like sharing all of your thoughts and all of like these private details that you just want to express. And that's awesome if you want to do that. You really don't have to. Like, you can make things for yourself. That is okay. I talked to my best friend that I thought it would. So like, I just have a couple of party things. I want everybody to read. You don't have to, obviously, it's your life. Art Review is a really good book. If you've never heard of it, it's basically just about addressing concerns that you might have as an artist, like common fears, like, oh, I'm like just a hack, I'm not good. It addresses stuff. It teaches you how to not be as afraid of that. What I really like from it, there's a moment for each artist in which a particular truth can be found. And if it is not found then, it will not ever be. It's like, while you have the fire in your belly, just go make the thing. And then, you know, it'll be easier to do it next time. It'll be easier to do it the next time. Yeah, there's probably some people tabling today that have journal comics, even if they're just like really small little zines. Like, go look for them and see what they are. Yeah, that's my spiel. Journal comics are really great, and I think they're really fun. And I think that they can be very useful for a lot of things. And everybody's style is going to be different. So if you start making them and you're like, oh, I don't like how this looks, it's ugly, that's like totally okay. Just like keep doing it, because that's like where the real magic starts to happen, is like learning to like open yourself up in this form. And it does become kind of like a diary if you want it to. Or it should be gags. Yeah. Do we have any questions? I do definitely recommend reading American Elf, if nothing else, but for the fact that like seeing 14 years worth of comics is like so humbling. I could not do that once a day, every day, for 14 years, especially as he has children and like is a father and like has a job and like does all this stuff. And he becomes like the Vermont cartoon laureate. It's really cool. Most people haven't read it. Officer Nisa again is really cool. She does a lot of work for the NIB. She does a lot of like essays. She talks a lot about like feelings on like race and representation, and also just like being a goth, which is really cool. Her work is really awesome. I recommend you look her up. Really like Gail Galligan. I think they're currently doing the new Breakfast Club. No, Babysitter's Club graphic novels. So if you like those are also really cute. And I recommend those. Those are geared towards like really cute, really good. Also just like really interesting thoughts about Bangkok. Mario Naomi is really cool. I don't think that one's pretty cool. But she does really cool work. She's in her like 40s, I think, so she's got really cool comics about the 90s, which are really Shalfa Bennett is actually someone I found while researching this. She also did these for a really long time, and like I really like the quote that she had about her journal comics. Even when things seem ridiculous, remember this is a journal comic. That means there's truth in every page. That's kind of what the basis of a journal comic is supposed to be. Like, no matter what you want it to be about, it should kind of, at least in some way, be about you, like what you feel about things. And then Dustin Harden, just I really like his work too. So he's a good example of like kind of leaning into the poetic side of it, kind of leaving some things like, you know, a little vague or unsaid, but I like that in a comic where people can kind of come at it as the audience with their own thoughts. And like when that happens, you get to like meet people halfway, and here's what I intended, here's what I got out of it, and then it's like a totally different thing. It's really cool. I really don't know what else to say.
All right. Well, okay.